honeyberries, we just eat it up, and start treating them spring as soon as Christmas is over. And, well, they were just so pretty, like, bright blue, it caught my attention, interesting shapes, so I ordered 2 plants for delivery in the spring. And when I went back to Canada in the summer, after receiving my 2 bare root plants that looked like dead sticks, stuck them in the ground, and they don't produce fruit right away, like it takes a few years. So, but at least they started growing. One of them did, the other one actually was a dead stick, so that
oh no.
Yes, that happens sometimes, but yeah, I still have that orchard. I wonder which one it is, I don't know. But it's somewhere out there in my orchard. But I went up to Canada and I Googled cold hardy fruit, just because I was really starting to get interested in gardening. We had a vegetable gardening thing, and I was just starting to get some fruit bushes. And so I found out that the honeyberry that I had ordered in the States was called Haskap in Canada, had the Japanese name. And I went to a friend who got talking gardening, and I said, yeah, have you heard of this honeyberry Haskap? She says, yeah, my mother-in-law has one in her adjacent, in the farm adjacent to her farm. They live in basically the same farm area. And yeah, so we went over, and that's the very first honeyberry bush that I saw. And it had these little blue, oblong, funny-shaped berries that were just, it was kind of like about this tartness. They were just turning blue, so they were still really tart, but I popped one in my mouth, and the skin was really soft, it didn't dissolve, there weren't many seeds, didn't notice the seeds, and I go, yeah, and I asked her, well, what do you do with them all? She says, nothing. My son eats them all off the bush, so. But they do make a good jam, and she, but yeah, that was just like the first.
Had you heard of Haskap, Wild Camp, when you lived in Canada?
No, because this is 2010, and I hadn't lived there since basically the 80s, or early 90s. And it was in like 1998 when the University of Saskatchewan fruit program planted their first honeyberry Haskap that they ordered from a nursery in the States. It's just one of the professors there ordered them. And then they got a new professor, a director of fruit, who he actually had a dream when he was younger to help feed the world. That was in his heart. And I'll just insert here what I call it dream seeds. I really believe that God puts dream seeds in our lives. And it's him, that provides the opportunities for them to grow, and we just follow his lead, and I just marvel at, the desires that he puts in us. And I can't say I ever dreamt of having this particularly, but I had a dream of doing something. We moved to our farm, we wanted to do something, and my husband wanted to farm again, but how do you start farming when your bank account is basically wiped out? Because, what happened was his dad died in '96, I think, and by the time they sold the cows and everything in the land and got out of debt, he had enough to buy a car and marry me and build a house, and that was about it. So at least we were debt free, but he had worked, he was 35, so he'd worked all those years, and it was tough times, dairy farming in those years. So, so the dream, so there's a dream seed planted, and then this is how it started, just growing. So I had, at this point, when I tasted them, I just thought I was very intrigued. And so I was familiar with U-picks, and I had this dream of, coming back and planting maybe a couple hundred, like 2 rows of bushes, just something I could manage and have people come and do a little picking on our farm, because we had 2 happy birds. So I came back and I shared this dream with my frugal husband, who immediately replied, how are you going to pay for them? And I came back with the answer without even thinking, well, post them on Craigslist, because I didn't know, I checked out the prices already, and you see that the more you buy, the cheaper they are from nurseries. If you buy one plant, it's the most expensive. If you buy 700, then the price comes down a lot. So I went to Ferguson Nursery, and I said, hey Joe, you want to bring down some plants? Because I found out they were actually growing some already. Ferguson Nursery at Fertile, Minnesota was one of the few nurseries besides a couple online nurseries that actually were growing, and he had planted some seedlings, and his dad, you know, they were aware, but hardly anyone else knew about them in 2010. So Joe and I brought down honeyberry plants, and I sold mine on Craigslist before I knew you're supposed to kind of have a nursery license before you sell plants, but I found that out later. And subsequently, yeah, we are a registered nursery. But yeah, he got his plants to sell to his customers, and I got our plant, and I was left with 100, after selling locally in the Bemidji area, I had 120 bushes left, but I wasn't prepared. It was like, you saw all that pastured grassland, like that's quackgrass, that's sod, that's really hard. You need, it's really, you can't plant into that, you can't plant a nursery in that. So I had a garden area, I had a garden, and in the fall I just healed them in because I didn't have the rows prepared or anything, and I didn't really have the muscle or the equipment to do it, and Jim was like, yeah, whatever. So I put them in and just let it go. Okay, so the dream seed went dormant, and a month later, Jim turns to me and says, I think you should bring down some more plants from Canada. Yeah. So I threw up a website. We brought down 3 honeyberry varieties and 2 cherry varieties, 5 different varieties of plants, that's all. 2 species, 5 different varieties. And we launched Honeyberry USA from our cabin in November 2010, based on his leadership, based on his getting the vision, getting direction of where to take this. And so we took orders all winter, just like a local nurseryman had done back in the day, who were good friends of ours, and but we did it online. He had to go knocking on doors to sell plants back in 1962. Yeah, okay, so there we start. We started out getting down, bringing baby plants down from Canada, importing them, and packing them by hand, 2 of us, using boxes from the post office, stuffing the boxes, mailing them out, filling our orders, and that's what we did. And then our friend who married us in the white shirt there, he came and helped us plant. So Jim, we bought a rototiller, and he rototilled through that quackgrass and started planting honeyberry bushes. And in 2012, we started getting more orders, and Lakewood Public TV paid us a visit, and that's what I was going to show you, but I don't have Wi-Fi connection right this point. We'll do it later. I'll show you. Okay. Okay. So, what exactly is a honeyberry? Well, you can see them right over there, and some of you have tasted them, but scientifically, it's a honeysuckle. It's a member of the honeysuckle family, and it looks like a mutated blueberry. And the waxy coat on it, if you touch it, it kind of changes color. That's called a bloom. It's very soft skin. The taste is, especially when they're ripe, they're a little bit sweeter. One customer described it as beyond wonderful. So I asked for permission to use her quote. She said something like, it's pretty good, fresh or processed. And for those of you who taste, how would you describe them? Describe the flavor.
It's kind of like a berry and a blueberry at the same time.
I call them Mr. Berry. So I use it in sauces, smoothies.
3 times higher in antioxidants than blueberries.
Well, it's got double skin, it's got so much of that purple stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. That's good for you. Basically, anything you use a blueberry with, but it's juicier than blueberries, so I like to mix, for a pie, I like to mix it with blueberries to give it more body. Otherwise, it's like eating jam.
Which isn't so bad.
And Julie, I asked the kitchen for bananas. I said even one banana wanted to share your new idea, and they were out of bananas, so you're gonna have to go home and try it on one banana.
Oh, it's delicious.
But honestly, I would say you can even put the jam on anything, it tastes good. And,
Huh. That would be good.
I should have brought some out to the, tonight, out to the fireside, we'll put it on s'mores. Yeah, so where do you find them? They actually do occur in the northern boreal forest, which basically the Iron Range. I've talked to a few people. Have you-
Well, I was just gonna ask, they're not a hybrid, I mean, or are they a hybrid that has been created by man, or are they native somewhere?
So they're native to the northern boreal forest in Asia, Europe, and North America. And I talked to a forest ranger at Bemidji State Park, and she said that there's some at Big Bog State Park. And I have talked to a few people over on the Iron Range that have identified them, but they're not real prolific. And the varieties that are in North America are like that. Look, the wild Canadian berry you see there, it's actually a very small berry. And by the time they turn blue, the birds get them. So unless you know what you're looking for, you're probably not going to find them in the wild.
Huh.
And what you asked about hybridization, well, its breeding has taken selections that are in the wild, more so in like the northern Japan and northern Russia, and they've taken, people find bushes with big berries and they take cuttings and then they propagate those, and then the breeding takes, since they have two parents, most of them are not self-pollinating, most of them need two parents, so you get the different characteristics. So just like people, the kids have two parents, you don't know what they're gonna turn out like. If you're gonna be tall or short, and it's more likely, if you have tall parents, it's more likely you're gonna have tall kids, but not guaranteed. But so they can be sweet or they can be sour, they can taste really good, they can taste really bad, or really strong. They're really different, I'll say, because some people might like them, but I like the sweeter ones. So breeding, this is where the University of Saskatchewan came in, this breeder that had this desire to help feed the world in some way. He took an interest in them, and he was also an educator. So what happened was, they had been available since the 90s, but because they would turn blue, people would pick them and eat them right away and not realize that they needed another couple weeks to really get sweeter, so they got a bad rap, got a bad reputation. But Dr. Bob Boris in Saskatchewan, who's actually American, but he started giving seminars and really telling people, hey, just wait a few weeks. And that's the biggest thing that has helped the home grower learn, just to wait. Whereas, like I said, with the earlier, if you pick them early, just add sugar. But you do want to be able to eat something fresh off the bush and enjoy it, and that's where this comes in. So they are very cold hardy. They grow in most soils. They can grow like about 4.5 pH up to 8.5. So it's ideal for us further west of Bemidji, where we do not have acidic soil. And over here we can grow blueberries, but we have to grow blueberries without acidifying the soil. And so it's much more versatile than the blueberry. They don't sucker, and they're quite a manageable size. They grow 5 to 6 feet usually. Some varieties grow 10 feet tall, unfortunately. It's hard to net a bush that's 10 feet tall, but
Yeah, I have a question, what do you mean by sucker? It doesn't sucker? It don't spread.
Like a strawberry will
Oh, okay.
go off.
Raspberry, okay. They sucker.
yeah.
Oh, it doesn't reach out and anchor down?
No, it just grows out from the crown.
Okay.
Keeps putting out new stems every year, but from the crown, from the base. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not invasive, it won't send out from root.
You
Come
have to
up
buy more.
20 feet away, unlike cherries or choke cherries or other things. Oh, okay, and we get about 5 pounds per bush approximately, but it does take about 5 years for them to reach that stage. This is one of the taller ones. It's really fun because if you don't feel like bending down or even standing up, just pull up a chair and let's do some picking. There is one main important thing that I always tell people if they want to plant a honeyberry bush. This is what happens, top left-hand corner, when you don't weed or water your honeyberry versus when you do. Keep that competitive grass away, give the bushes a chance. And they'll respond. They have shallow roots, and our quackgrass is not a friend of baby plants that need, yeah, it's just amazing. Give them a chance, give them a good start, and thank you for it. So, the nemesis, which is happening right now, is the cedar waxwing. We're on the migration path of cedar waxwings heading north, and they love to feast on our berries. So netting is pretty essential. Beautiful bird, but they know what's good for them. So we put up overhead netting, and this is several years ago, when bushes were pretty small. And that helps keep birds away. So, yeah, the flowers don't really smell that much, but they sure